Hello and welcome to what is me in a clean garage for once. Now, this is my pit bike that I built myself out of bits. And it's worked well, but it's had one hell of a ride. The last time I drove it, I broke my collarbone. Now that wasn't filmed, but I thought that it needs brakes. Yeah, it never really had a back brake because I had a few issues. Because the brake pedal I have doesn't really fit. Doesn't really go into place. It's for a model that has these further forwards, and I thought that while I'm at it I might give it a bit of a service, because as long as I've had it I haven't changed the oils. So I did a bit of an inspection and thought to myself, what needs to be done? Well, here's a to-do list. Oil, yes. Air filter, yes. Spark plug, yes. Front brake. Now, this had a front brake when I originally built it, but I fell over at one point and the handle came off, so I ordered a new one. Rear brake, well, that's a bit of a problem. I thought I had a brake disc, but today, as I've been looking for parts for this, I didn't find it, so I've ordered one. And also, as I previously explained, this needs modifying, so that'll do. Carb clean. Sticky throttle cable. Yeah, this is yeah, it's been a while without driving, so. Hanging tail light. As you can see over there. Hanging power switch. Now it used to be glued to the fuel tank, but now it's just cable tied on the throttle cable. And hanging CDI unit. Yeah, that's not good. And that's my list. So we start off with oil. First of all, I want the engine to sit level. Just put another block of wood underneath, just for good measure, because the oil drain plug is at the front. That's empty. Now, if I remember correctly, this is not the original dipstick. 4mm above that. Should be just good. Nope. Looking at this, it's you know, reasonably black. So, while that is draining, we had the spark plug. They might be looking at this and thinking, what the hell? Well, that was a quick fix. However, I have found a proper one for the job. So hopefully that should do the job and be a bit safer. Usually you should change the oil when the engine is warm, but now it just wasn't an option because of the throttle cable is stuck. Damn it! Oof. Good for me. Now, even though the engine hasn't been running for a while, the spark plug is all oily and dark. Hopefully they sold me the correct spark plug. It is the same length. It is made in Japan. So I reckon I'm happy with that. There you go. Don't want to over tighten the spark plug. Now with my new head. There you go. Spark plug. Check. The air filter, I suppose. There's nothing really wrong with the air filter, but it's just the sort of clumsy model, and it is actually quite full of gunk. However, I have a bit of an upgrade. A foam filter. I'm supposed to oil the red piece or the black piece. Oh well. Because the red piece is more coarse, so it's for the bigger rubbish, and then the inner one is for smaller rubbish, like dust. I'm just going to give it a quick, oh for fuck's sake, I'm out of WD-40 also. Sort of, some of it is coming out, so you know. There you go. Now this style of air filter is rather known for coming off from here. So I built a little metal thing around it to hold it in place better. Yeah, the plastic is really cracked, rather than rubber. So you know, this is, yeah, it's rubbish. Now on my list was carburetor clean. However, I don't think I can be bothered to take the carburetor apart, especially as it runs nicely. There's nothing really wrong with it, so my carburetor clean shall look like this. Oh dear. And I reckon I'll also be putting a cleaning additive in the fuel once I start driving it again for the first tank or two. Now, therefore, carb clean. Can't be bothered. What else? Ah yes, the air filter. I was in the middle of doing that. Hopefully it's the correct size. And there you have it. A brand new red foam air filter. Air filter, done. Just going to check quickly if I can find a new washer for the oil plug. Didn't find them, I just found some O-rings. So, this one is straight. So I reckon I'll just give it a good clean. this is not advisable, but I am going to use the old one again. There was still a bit. I think I'll need to go to the toilet. Now the reason why these bikes don't have kickstand is they used to have from the factory, but then there was a little problem with them that they would fall down during driving. So they were advised to be removed. Well, that's what I've heard. However, a motocross bike doesn't need a kickstand for that reason. Well, I'll trust it for now. Right. Came back and the bike was still upright. Good for me. Now, just plug in place. Now there you go. Just a touch tighter than it was last time. Went to have a look at the owner's manual of the bike that this engine was off that I got with it. The manual was just a copy and there wasn't the page of what oil to use and how much. I'm going to use oil that is made for 4-stroke bikes. Now it's 15W50. Is a fully synthetic oil for use in all 4-stroke motorcycle applications. Funny that, because in Finnish it says that it's engines and gearboxes special needs. I don't know, man. Well, they could have translated it well, but instead they just wrote, yeah, put it in your bike. Well, it's oil coloured. Give you that. It's golden. It actually has a hint of orange, maybe. I reckon about 1 litre goes in. Most awkward position for anything. Okay. Why can't you just sit there nicely? Just, well, that's okay. If I put about 1/2 litre in first. Now that's about 1/2 litre. There. And that is full. Well, that means there's enough oil for me to do another oil change and to do an oil change on the go-kart once it'll need it. Actually, maybe even before I start driving it. That's all jolly good. Oil done. What the hell? Ah, that's no good. That's good to notice now. Just going to turn the engine over a bit, but you know, it appears that can't. Hopefully it is just the kick. Yep, the kick has had it. It's not like it was a Honda original, but yeah, it was a... Yep, that's had it. Well, that's one thing off the list that I can add to the list that can be ticked. Once I've changed it, obviously. Some of the teeth have sort of flattened. Now, it doesn't hit the exhaust pipe. And when I sit on it, it's not too much in my way. Okay, front brake. Right, here's your problem. And before we can... Well, we don't need to remove this. But because, you know, sticky throttle cable, I'll remove it anyway. It's not really in the way. Ew, it's all greasy from there because of the throttle handle. Now this one is a deluxe model. It has place for your mirror and a brake light switch. However, I'm not going to use either of those. But this was the cheapest. So you know. And it's actually OEM. Because it is a Chinese part and it is a Chinese bike. And there you have it. Slide it on to quickly put that back on. See on how and that is where it shall sit, maybe, hopefully. Right, and then we change this over. I think that's like a 12. Damn it! Ah, it's tight. Yeah, I should have really loosened it while it was on. Ah, there you go. Make it quick and as little. Actually, you know, I'll get our little oil tub below, so if it drips any brake fluid, it doesn't go on the floor. Well, the fucking thing went on the floor. Ew, this brake fluid is all red and rusty. Well, actually sort of brown. So, man, it's tight. Now the new part comes with a new bolt and seals. So this can all be thrown away. It's actually possible that this is original brake fluid from whatever bike this brake system came off. Right, hope for the best. And now brake fluid. That is dirty. Starting to feel stiffer. Actually, this brake bleeder tool isn't that bad. Yep, I'm going to call that good enough. I reckon that works. Right, after doing the brake yesterday, I was rather tired. So now, a new day, more energy. We start with hanging tail lights. Right, I never really got to the point that the lights would work, so for now, I reckon I'll just remove them. And revisit that project some other time. Hanging tail light. While we're at the point of fixing stuff that hangs, we have the CDI unit. Now this comes with a little rubber thing that's broken. I'll put it there. I'll start with turning the bike around. And because the rubber has seen better days, I'll put a cable tie or two just for insurance. Hanging CDI unit. Hanging power switch. Maybe the original place I designed isn't that bad. Ideally I would like a kill switch that goes on the handlebar, but I couldn't find one. And I can't be bothered to wait for one. And you know, the system I have is, you know, unique and my style. Take all the old heat glue bits off carefully because it is on the fuel tank. I don't want to make a hole in that. Scratch them off. So scratching it a bit makes a slightly coarse, dirt-free surface. Get a bit of rough sandpaper, just coarse up the switch as well. Heat glue is what I used. Heat glue is what I shall use now. And then it just heats up. I don't glue the switch onto the off position. It's a bit bent. I reckon it still is accessible. Now ideally I could take the plastic off to ease access, but I'm too lazy. Right, just to still make sure it works, turn it on. Okay. Yep. Hanging power switch done. Now I still have sticky throttle cable and rear brake, or whatever I can do to it today, which is modify this, fit it into place, and maybe put a piece of metal in between and bleed the brake system. So next I shall go with the easier job, and which is sticky throttle cable. We start with removing the entire thing. Remove cable from this end. Come on, damn it. Just get out of my way. Well, stay there then. Be careful not to cut any cables. Right, it's not actually even that long, however, it is too long for the bike. Right, this is a cable kit. It has a thick cable, a thin cable, and lots of ends. Lubrication in your cable is important because the inside of the cable is actually metal. So metal on metal If it gets rusty, it sticks. Sort of looks long enough, but will it turn? I'm going to give it a try. Now I'm changing the straight piece to this corner piece. It'll give me just a bit extension, and it'll also help the cable bend a bit as it has to. Throw that on the floor. Oh wait, that goes first, then goes that. Spring. That goes there. There you have it. Shove that back up there into its place. Hang on. Actually, I'll just put a touch of lube there as well, just for good measure. The idle screw is on this side, so it will go that way. Then now that's in place, tighten it down, and there you have it. That end is ready. Now we have to test that it fits, and if it is too short, it doesn't matter because I can just change it from the loose I have here. This is actually a custom self-made piece out of a hex bolt. I'll just check if I have a proper one. Didn't find one, so right, so I didn't get the old cable end out of here, but I got it drilled out enough that it fits onto this. Right there. And I reckon it turns quite nicely. So I'm going to say that we have a good length of cable. Now there's a great variety of different sizes and shapes for different purposes. I'm going to take the smallest one. So we'll want that approximately there. I've lost that. Yep. Tighten it. And then remove the excess. Now you want to cut it after you have the end piece in place, because this will happen to the cable, and that is kind of an arse to get. Oh dear, I'm putting it the wrong way. Yeah, it's just easier to get through while it's still intact. You can actually turn it back into shape, but you know, it's just easier. Now we just put that together. A bit of lube there. And just a bit of lube in there, just for good measure. This was already pretty greasy, but you know, I can't have too much lube. Tell you what you can have is too little lube in the can. There you go. Hang on, what am I trying to... Is it not letting it go on? It's not sitting nicely. Man, this is a useful tool. Didn't really actually know how much I needed it, I just wanted it. There you go. Not quite. Well, that's that. It'll wear in. Need to get myself a new pair of these, because both have a hole in the end. But that shall do for now. Right, the other one is a bit worse. For now I'll change it for this one, which is probably off the Rieu originally. But that had the same problem on this side, so I changed them both. That is, if I can remove this. Ideally a knife would be a lot better than a screwdriver, but this shall do the job. There you go. Maybe I'll give the clutch cable a bit of a lube as well. Gently let it just go all through. Ooh, that's a lot smoother. Right, guess there's one more thing to do. However, I just thought to myself, because I won't get it working, because I don't have the disc, I can't be bothered to be fiddling with this today. Give me fuel, give me fire. Yeah, just fill it up, what the hell. Make sure it's not falling on the floor. And just a touch of that previously mentioned additive. There you go, carburetor clean, tick.